everybody, welcome to the United Stand, Manchester United versus Fulham preview, and there are a few controversial takes in this video. Get your comments in below. This game is the biggest game of the season. Of course it is. It's the second game of the season and we just lost to Arsenal. But actually, I think it's more than that. I don't think it's because it's the second game of the season. I think it's going to dictate so much. We played well against Arsenal. There is a lot of goodwill. But if we go and do what we've done pretty much for the last 15 years, where we basically play well one week and crap the next, then nothing's changed. Consistency is the word we crave. Inconsistency is the word we've seen so many times. There are so many United fans out there going, we're going to play shit against Fulham and we're going to draw or lose. That is not the step forward we're looking for. That is not the step forward I am expecting. What I'm expecting is a performance against Arsenal that was very good, that leaves us frustrated because we don't get what we deserve. We go and get against Fulham at Craven Cottage on Sunday. So this game is pivotal because if we go and win on Sunday, the positivity continues. If we play badly and we don't win, I think the cracks start to appear. And Amoirm can't afford that. So we're looking for a performance. I'm expecting a performance. And we need a performance against Fulham. Now, before we talk about Fulham, let's talk about my lineup. It is a must-win. I think that, look, if we beat Fulham, I'm pretty confident we'll beat Burnley next week at Old Trafford. You'd have 6 points from 9. You're 3 points off the top, no matter what, going into the international break. Now, of course, that's because it's early in the season, but you're going to take that. And ultimately, as I've said to you so many times, for me, game 10 to game 30 is what our season's all about. In 10 games' time, we'll have had all these new players who will be settled. Everyone will be starting to play in Europe more and more. It was Swedish Rumble who said this on X, and it was a great point that I've adopted. And in that time, you would expect us, because we're not playing in Europe and we are more adapted to each other, we really should start to cook. So I just want us in touch with 5th place or 4th place after 10 games. And in touch for me is 4 or 5 points. So that's my aim. But to do that, to be in touch, you've got to beat Fulham, you've got to beat Burnley, because the way this season's going to go is I do not think we're going to see the season of last year where anybody could beat anybody. I think there's going to be a number of teams that are going to beat 75% of the league, and you need to be in the 25% that's doing that. Look, let's be clear, a Newcastle or a Spurs could be one of those teams. And if we want to be in the top 5, then we've got to be one of those teams. We've got to be turning the Fulhams and the Burnleys and the Crystal Palaces and the Evertons and the Wolves. We've got to be turning them over. We can't be losing or drawing to them like we did last season. So it all comes down to the team, really, doesn't it? And I think there are so many permutations, and I'm sure you've been looking at it next to me while I've been chatting away. What is your starting lineup? Get it in the comments, or tell me where you differ. Maybe that's shorter for you. I genuinely think he's going to go with Binder in goal, because I think if he doesn't go with Binder in goal, he contradicts a big decision he made against Arsenal. If you choose Binder over Onana against Arsenal, then why would you not choose Binder over Onana against Fulham, who are a lesser opposition? Onana was able to play that game. He was certainly able to be on the bench, and he wasn't there at all. Why did Amoirm do that? It can only be because he was looking to say, look, I'm not totally convinced with you. Now, I agree. Binder cost us the game on Sunday, so he may be dropped for Onana, and Amoirm's changed his mind. But on the other hand, Amoirm is quite resolute. He's quite stubborn. I don't think Rasmus will be on the bench against Fulham, and I don't think Onana will start against Fulham. I may be completely wrong, but if Amoirm is what he is, I think he made that Onana decision not on fitness. I think he made it on selection. Why would you change that selection? I think he'll double down on Binder and back him. And I hope Binder plays well, because we need another goalkeeper anyway. Obviously, I think the back 3 picks itself, it was very good against Arsenal. So why would you change it? Dorgu on the left-hand side and then Ahmad on the right-hand side. This has to happen. It made me very sad to see Ahmad on the bench against Arsenal. I understood it. I predicted it. I thought, you know what? He's going to play Delo. We're playing Arsenal. They're a better team than us. They've got some great attacking talent. He's going to play Delo because he's a little bit more reserved. And he did. This is Fulham. If you play Delo against Fulham, what is Ahmad now? Is he a bench player? Ahmad's got to be the long-term right wing-back, because that is what Amoirm did at Sporting, predominantly had attackers on the wide, not a back five. Ahmad's got to start this game. Ahmad cannot be a bench player. And also, Fulham, in my opinion, are going to be mid-table or below. So if you can't play Ahmad against a mid-table or below team, then we're going to see a hell of a lot of Delo starting and a hell of a lot of Ahmad on the bench. And that's, to me, is not right. So Ahmad on the right wing back. Midfield 2, I think, is debatable. We need a midfielder as much as we need a goalkeeper. Obviously, Bruno's going to start. He's going to play. He's going to be the captain. No debate about that. But what about the midfielder next to him? Agate looked bereft of confidence when he came on. Casemiro fade from physicality. Mainu didn't get a minute. Honestly, I think you could toss a coin on this. I think Mainu could start. It would not surprise me in the least if Mainu started against Fulham. I mean, Casemiro is going to fade physically. Agate didn't do well off the bench. Why would you not start Mainu? Maybe Mainu will start. I think he'll go with Casemiro, but it could be any of those three, which in itself, I think, evidences the need to buy a midfielder, because I don't think there is a definitive starter. Even though I like all three players in their own way, I don't think there's a definitive starter next to Bruno. So this is why we need a midfielder. Obviously, Cunha, there's a little bit of a debate over Mbeumo because Mason Mount has been starting. But honestly, again, it's a bit like Delo or Ahmad. You've got to go with Ahmad. And if you're going to go Mount over Mbeumo, why did you buy Mbeumo? I mean, this is the sort of game that Mbeumo cooked on in a Brentford shirt. Against the teams like Fulham, he was the difference. So we're away from home as well. Brentford's system was very counter-attack. Mbeumo is perfect. This is where I think people like Mbeumo and Cunha come into their own. Playing for Wolves and Brentford, you're used to being a bit of an underdog. Away games especially, you're a bit of an underdog. I think Mbeumo and Cunha are perfect for these type of games. Start them both. Mbeumo's going to be a week further on with his fitness. He's only going to get stronger and stronger. Cunha's going to get more and more used to the team. I think we got a lot out of him against Arsenal. I think in pre-season we were hitting the wrong balls towards him. Against Arsenal, it was into his feet. He caused problems. Cunha and Mbeumo. He might not do this. He might stick Mount there again. Robert McCormack FC, he might put Mount in there. But again, I would say, similarly to playing Delo over Ahmad, why? Why? Like, get Šeško up front for Manchester United. This is what we paid for. We lost against Arsenal. Now is not the time to follow the laptop or go a bit Ten Hag with a new signing where you try and bleed them in gently. Get him up front. He's massive. He's quick. He's a goal scorer. In a game like this, it might be quite tight and Šeško might win it for us. Get Šeško in up front. And then you've got a bench of people like Xerxes, Mount, two of the midfielders that you're not going to play, Delo. Got a strong bench, Maguire. So I think this is a strong enough team. Now, I wanted to look at Fulham because Fulham drew against Brentford last week. Obviously, I didn't watch it. I saw the late equaliser. A lot of people respect Brighton. 51% possession for Fulham away to Brighton. 7 shots to Fulham's 10. 1-1. Fulham are the quintessential Premier League side. They can beat anybody and they can lose to anybody. They're a decent side. They're going to be a decent game. What worries me about Fulham on Sunday, and I said this to somebody today, it's opening day of the season for everybody who played away. So for us, our opening day of the season was Old Trafford on Sunday against Arsenal. For Arsenal, their real opening day is Saturday evening against Leeds. It's the first game of the season at the Emirates. And that'll be a different crowd because that'll be an excited crowd, even though it's the second game of the season. And it'll be the same for Fulham. This is the first game of the season at Craven Cottage. That is dangerous because that is an excited crowd for a new season. It makes the second game difficult because you're away against a new crowd. So Fulham had a good result at Brighton. They gave Brighton a good game. We don't know how good Brighton are going to be. We don't know how good Fulham are going to be. But Fulham did play well. Looking at their team as you go through it, they're experienced. Leno, Bassi, Anderson, Lukic, Sander Berg, Iwobi, Wilson, Jimenez. These are the sort of players that when it comes to the Premier League, Andres Pereira was on the bench, didn't come on. Smith Rowe, Adama Traore, Muniz, they're all experienced players and they're all well coached. It won't be an easy game. One fortunate positive is that Anthony Robinson, who is Fulham's best player, is injured, so he won't play. But this has the makings of a difficult game if we don't play well. But you know what? I'm going to go Man United 3-1. And it's been a long time since I've predicted Man United would score 3 goals away from home. But I think we're vibrant. I think we actually are creating chances. I think our strength is our attack and our weakness is our defence. Not that De Ligt or Yoro or Shaw are a weakness, but I think the midfield allows teams to get at us, and I think our goalkeeper is weak. So I think our strength is to attack and score goals. And when you look at that side, the front three is £200 million worth of talent. It's not breaking news to say that that's our strength and I expect us to score goals. I do. And I think this is going to be one of those games where maybe last season you draw 1-1 or you lose 1-0 because our attack was shit, lack of creativity, whatever. But I think this is the sort of games where we'll outscore the opposition, even though they might play quite well. I think Fulham will give us a good game, but I think we will outscore them. So I'm going to go Manchester United 3, Fulham 1. So give us your score predictions on that. We're still in the transfer window. It would be wrong of me not to talk about it. And I've got to say that, look, that's a strong team. And it's going to be a strong bench as well. But when I look at it, I still look at Casemiro and Bienda and go, they are two fundamental areas. I think if Ahmad doesn't work or Dalot starts, you might say that's a weak area. But look at where it is on the pitch, you know? If one of the number 10s is Mason Mount and you don't quite fancy him, there's another number 10 next to him. There's a striker. There's Bruno behind him. But Casemiro and Bienda are two very much, well, the spine positions, aren't they? They're right down the middle of the team. Those two, even though I think we'll beat Fulham across a 38-game season, those two positions, to me, you can't change them with what we've got. You can put Onana there. I don't think it's a massive improvement. You can put Agate and Mainu there instead of Casemiro. And at the moment, I'm not sure that... I mean, look, with Bruno there, I think you need a certain type of midfielder. I don't think we've got it. So I still think that those are areas that we need to improve. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Get your comments in below. Do you agree with my team? Do you think we will win 3-1? Do you agree with my opinion on transfers? And do you agree with me that this game has to be a win? And if we don't win it, we may be there on Sunday evening dealing with a lot of toxicity and a 3-letter word called out. Because they will be there. They are waiting. Some journalists, some fans. We need to keep this positivity train going. We need to win this game. And I think ultimately we will look back on this game in future weeks and months and go, that result was pivotal. If it's a positive result, you take the Arsenal positive performance and you move. If it's a negative result, you take the positivity of Arsenal and go, it's the same old inconsistency. So it's a huge game. Thanks everyone for watching. Get your comments in below. Make sure you smash the like and subscribe. I will speak to you on the 10 a.m. show. Thanks everyone for watching. Stay safe.